we're building something really special here. Like I said, there's a lot of new faces in here and some folks we've brought back. Yeah, there has certainly been some political turmoil in the past, but we're through with all that. The council that we have in place right now is tremendous. They're forward looking. They trust staff to make the right decisions. And again, what we're building here is pretty special. So I have no doubt that if you fast forward 5 years, we're going to be having all kinds of awards here, from budget awards to finance best practices. And I truly believe we're going to become a benchmark community in which other communities look to for guidance on how to do things right.
Welcome to The Clear Voice, brought to you by Clear Career Professionals. I'm your host, James Groom. Today we have a PositionCast focus on the Chief Financial Officer position in Odessa, Texas. We are joined by the recruiter for this opportunity from Clear, Kelly Kuenstler. Kelly, welcome to the show, and thank you for being with us again.
Thanks, James. Thanks for hosting us. Good morning, everyone. With us today is Aaron Smith, who is the city manager in Odessa, and I know everybody's anxious to hear from him, so I will, right out of the gate, ask him to introduce himself. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Aaron, and tell us a little bit about how long you've been in Odessa and what you've been doing there.
Oh, goodness. So let's see. I've been in Odessa since February, and I was the assistant city manager, and I was appointed as city manager back in December. So I've been city manager not even 2 months yet, if you will. So not been in this position very long. I have been a city manager before. My career started in public management in earnest about 15 years ago. Believe it or not, in the very office that I'm sitting in. My wife and I owned and operated a business here in Odessa, Texas. And after about 5 years, I was really getting anxious to use my degree, which was in public administration. I had done internships in cities before, done internships in Washington, D.C. Although it was great owning and operating my business, my passion was always public service and municipal government. And I came into this office, and behind the desk was Richard Morton, the prior city manager here. And he said, hey, if you're really interested in getting into city government, well, you got to be willing to apply coast to coast, get out there. And so we did. And not maybe 2 months after that, I landed in Alliance, Nebraska as the assistant to city manager there. And that's where I started my career, like I said, in earnest in public management and municipal government. And for the past 15 years, I've been a city manager in Ogallala, Nebraska, Tulia, Texas, White House, Texas. I was a city administrator in Kemah, Texas, and came back here when an opportunity arose. And I was asked to be the assistant city manager. And, life happened, I guess, and some changes occurred. And next thing you know, here I am in the city manager seat, and couldn't be happier to be back home here in Odessa.
Well, we're happy for you. We were, of course, able to place you in Kemah.
Yes.
So we've gotten to know you a little bit over the last couple of years, and we think Odessa's lucky to have you. So I'm glad you're there. It seems like that's where you were meant to be.
It seems like that. Everything just worked out in that, God has a way of working things out in our lives and in our careers. And here we are in Odessa again. I knew one day we'd probably be back, and I thought I was going to be the ACM, and then here we are as the city manager.
Congratulations. I hope this run goes great for you. Tell us a little bit about your leadership style, Aaron.
Sure. My leadership style, I really like to practice servant leadership. I've talked about servant leadership for a long time, and servant leadership to me really is about supporting our employees. It's about lifting up our employees, helping our employees, giving them the tools necessary to be successful in their careers, but in their personal lives as well. I truly believe that if you take care of your employees, they will take care of our customers. Our customers, of course, are the residents of the city of Odessa. I believe that, when you spend 80% of your adult life in the workplace, that it needs to be a place that you want to come to work. I hope that on Sunday night, you're not dreading coming to work on Monday, but you're looking for those opportunities that we have to build together. As a servant leader, that's my goal. My goal is to make sure that you are equipped to handle your professional life, that you're heard, that you're listened to, that I'm helping you be successful, that I'm helping you attain the tools to be successful, whether that's with things like continued education, professional organizations, We encourage you to be a part of those. We encourage you to get that continued education. We're there for that.
Absolutely. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later. Tell us about this position, Aaron.
Sure. So the CFO position is obviously a pretty critical position for our organization. You know, we have over a $300 million budget. Assets in the city are well over $2 billion. It's a big job. It's an important role and one that is critical to the success of our organization and to our community. Roughly, this position would have a direct report. There'd be about 2 direct reports to this position, although it might look a little different. We're looking at kind of reorganizing some things with billing and collections coming under finance, procurement coming under finance, warehouse, things like that. So some other things coming under finance. Basically, we want to make sure that anything that's really involved in the money of the city and the finances of our city, that everything is kind of streamlined under one CFO position. And that position would answer up to the deputy city manager, Tina, who's also new, which kind of dovetails into the newness of all of this and all the great opportunities that we have really to kind of build up from the ground up. So a lot of new folks here in Odessa and a lot of new faces, but it's also a great opportunity to work with a great team. There's a lot of really good people, really smart, hardworking folks down in the finance department, from Kayla to Kaylee, who have really held the department together over the past 2 years. And there's been some transition and some hard times in the past. I think people can kind of look at those and determine for themselves that things have been, they were shaky, quite frankly, over the past couple of years. But now everything is steady. We're moving in the right direction. And again, there's a great staff in the finance department to help the CFO kind of take us to the next level, if you will.
What really does make the position attractive? You know, a brand new city manager, guns a-blazing, brand new deputy city manager who's going to supervise, good folks already in the department. So it's a great opportunity.
It really is.
You talked a little bit about the budget. In our position brochure, it actually shows what type of general fund and enterprise fund that the city is responsible for. But what about other funds? Maybe some grant funds that you have. What else do you have going on?
That's another great opportunity because right now we really don't have a whole lot of grants that we're overseeing. There's probably about 11 grants or so that are working right now. A lot of those are planning grants, and we've recently entered into a contract with GrantWorks to help us do some research. They came in and said, "Hey, what are our needs?" And they sat down and they talked with all our departments, and so they're going to help us scout out some of those potential grants in the future. And yes, when we get those, we're going to have those administered, and we know that, and we'll be able to provide that position in the finance department as well, somebody who can help us administer grants. So a lot of opportunity there, right? You know, we don't have a lot of grants going right now. But that had a lot to do, obviously, with staffing. So again, another opportunity to get the right staff in place so that we can build our grant portfolio.
Makes sense. Makes sense. What accounting program does your finance department use currently?
So we use Tyler Munis right now.
Okay.
I think from finance, that's pretty standard stuff, I guess. You have Tyler Munis, you've got Encode and things like that. But Munis, I think, is pretty well utilized in a lot of municipalities across the country.
Yeah, absolutely. What about projects that the city's working on?
Sure. So a big project right now, and it's just underway, and this is pretty exciting, is a $140 million sports complex that's going in. This is a indoor facility with around 150,000 square feet, 10 basketball courts that can double as 20 volleyball courts, breakout rooms in there, a room for like a springboard floor and things like that for cheer competitions, indoor gymnasium. Outdoor, there will be 12 baseball, softball fields, 10 soccer fields that can be converted into football, golly, all kinds of outdoor sports. So it's a major facility. You know, this thing sits on 130 acres. It's just massive. It'll be a project that will attract tournaments from all over the country. In fact, I can't think of a sports complex in the central United States that would be basically as big as this when it's all said and done, and all of those features together.
That's super exciting.
That's an exciting project for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk a little bit about challenges. What challenges do you see the newly appointed finance director facing, right from the beginning?
The accounting world is tough. Not a lot of them. Especially there's not a lot that also work in municipal government. You have CPAs, then you have niche, which is a niche in of itself, and then you've got municipal finance, which is even smaller, tighter niche, if you will. So there's still the need to hire a few more accountants. So I think hiring more folks is going to be a challenge. There's no doubt about it. But we'll be patient and we'll be willing to provide the budget to make sure we get the right people in place as well. So there's opportunity there again to hire a few more folks. And of course, challenges in our budget are like a lot of other folks as well. We are oil and gas rich. We kind of ebb and flow based on the price of oil, if you will. So when energy sector is down, we see, tightening up of things. And when the energy sector is great, then all of a sudden, hey, there's some opportunity there to do more projects, if you will, but at the same time, we have to make sure we keep a healthy fund balance for those downtimes as well. So I'd say that's really the big challenge I think that you would see here is getting the right staff in place with a few more of those folks we need to hire on. And again, like I said, energy sector can be tough, but luckily we have a healthy fund balance and we're able to weather those tough times.
That's wonderful. That's good to hear. Community and council engagement are important for all of your director level positions, really. What expectations will you have surrounding this area?
Sure. I tend to allow the department heads I encourage it actually, is to have communication with the city council. It's too big an organization just to go through one person. So I have a lot of trust in our department heads and even talked about our new deputy city manager. We also have a new chief of staff and we have a new assistant city manager over public works. And so again, there's a lot of things going on. In my opinion, it's really important that department head be able to communicate in a way that is easy to understand, right? Finance is complex, but you got to be able to break it down and talk about it to folks who may not be professional finance folks, right? So our council members are hardworking, very smart, but at the end of the day, they've got day jobs. And when they have questions about the budget, the most important thing we do, right, is the budget. Sets our priorities for the year. We want to be able to have an open door policy with our council members about how we talk about the budget and set priorities and give them updates on the financial condition of the city in a way that's easy to understand and relate to.
Absolutely. Yeah, that makes sense. So let's kind of switch gears here and let's talk about living in Odessa.
Sure.
If I were the new finance director hired, what would you tell me about living in Odessa?
For me, it's the perfect hometown. Like I said, I've lived in Odessa longer than any place I've lived in my adult life. This is where my wife and I were married. This is where we owned and operated a business. This is where, my wife's family is from. To me, there's not a better hometown feel any place I've ever lived. West Texas is a special place. It's a place that's really hardworking folks, but not only that, they're the type of folks that are open to, they're certainly open to outsiders because most everybody in Odessa is an outsider for that matter. But for whatever reason, we all come together. We're here to help each other. It's a close-knit community. It's a very friendly community. A lot of opportunities for your kids, good school systems, whether it's on the private side or on the public side. A lot of opportunities on the weekend, if you will, short drives to places like Guadalupe National Park, Big Bend, heck, even less than 5 hours, about 5 hours away from here, you can go skiing in places like Ruidoso, New Mexico. So if you like the outdoors and you like things like that, it's a wonderful place to be. But again, I think the people are the strongest part. Again, these are the people that work in an industry, oil and gas, that it's a hard industry, but it's one that is important. Quite frankly, what happens here in the Permian Basin energizes the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's a very special community to me. And again, very close-knit, family-friendly. Again, I can't think of a better hometown.
When outsiders like me think about Odessa, first of all, I appreciate you talking about the community because it's really great to know. But outsiders like me think about Odessa, what's the first thing we think of? The Permian Basin, right? The abundant natural resources. So kind of dovetailing on this, how has the Permian Basin impacted Odessa as a city and city government? And you talked a little bit about that earlier, about the resources that the city has as a result of the Permian Basin.
You would think you would have more energy sector folks on the council, but to be honest with you, not a lot of them are actually in the energy sector, if that makes sense. So, but we work with them every day. These companies are, these oil field service companies, these oil companies are very philanthropic. In fact, a large company, obviously energy company Oxy, made a tremendous donation, for instance, to the sports complex. So they're very linked to us. They're very, again, philanthropic, and they certainly help us out with a lot of things.
That's wonderful. That's good. It seems like there's some good partnerships. That's wonderful. Back to the candidate now. I didn't ask this earlier, and I think you mentioned it, but can you go in just a little bit of detail about how the City of Odessa is willing to support the candidate's professional development?
Oh, sure. Like I said, we would not only would encourage it, we would expect it, right? We want that person to be involved in their professional organization. We want that person to be heavily involved with that organization. We think that's really important for continued education, continued development, and we'd be happy to support that, and we will. As part of compensation package, for instance, those things will be covered.
Great.
Absolutely.
So statewide GFOA, the local
Absolutely.
chapter, all that covered.
Local, state, national, absolutely.
Wonderful. That's good to hear. Aaron, is there anything else that you can think of that the applicants for this position might want to know? Any last thoughts or pieces of advice for the applicants?
We're building something really special here. Like I said, there's a lot of new faces in here, some folks we've brought back. Yeah, there has certainly been some political turmoil in the past, but we're through with all that. The council that we have in place right now is tremendous. They're forward looking. They trust staff to make the right decisions. And again, what we're building here is pretty special. I have no doubt that if you fast forward 5 years, we're going to be having all kinds of awards here, from budget awards to finance best practices. I truly believe we're going to become a benchmark community in which other communities look to for guidance on how to do things right.
And how cool for the successful candidate to be a part of all of this.
I believe so. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I'll tell you what, the recruitment is up and running. It started. We will make certain that applicants know about this podcast. We call them, we let them know so they can listen in, they can share it. And if applicants have any questions whatsoever, my personal cell phone is right on the brochure. I just feel free to call me.
Very good. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it and look forward to next step in the application process.
As do we, Aaron. Thank you.
Thank you all very much. Have a great day.
You too.
Thank you for listening to the PositionCast for Odessa's Chief Financial Officer role. If you're interested in this role or any of the other positions that we have available, you can find those on our website, or you can check Clear Career Professionals' LinkedIn page. Thank you for listening, and we will catch you next time.